Hi everyone, my name is Upsa Sharma and I'm the coordinator of Seneca Student Federation at York. I welcome you all today in this session of career development with Juliet. She's the coordinator for career development. Today we will be talking about how we can build an effective resume. And over to you, Juliet.
Yes, thank you very much, IPSA, and thank you very much for everyone who's just joined. We are here today to talk about how to improve your resume and take it up a notch and discuss the importance of customizing your resume. So I'm assuming that most of you already have a resume and you just want to give it that boost so that it captures the recruiter's attention. So in terms of customizing your resume, you want to demonstrate relevance for the job and demonstrate relevance for the needs of the employer. So let me ask you, Ipsa, if you wanted to buy shoes, because I want to make the point of a generic resume, one resume that goes to all applications vis-a-vis customization. So I'll ask you, and I'll make a shopping analogy. If you wanted to buy shoes, Ipsa, what are the chances that you would buy a pair of shoes from a store that had one type of shoes and only one color and in only one size?
I won't buy it because, I have my own choices and I need it to match with my clothing and my style. So if it's just one size, one color, probably I won't.
Absolutely. Similarly, a one size fit all type of resume does not get the recruiter's attention. Job seekers need to learn how to customize their resumes so that a recruiter is excited to invite them for an interview. And you do that by focusing and customizing the resume to the job and to the organization.
So, Juliet, I just want to ask, can you tell us how can we customize our resume?
Okay, excellent question. So I'll go through what you need to know in order to customize your resume. So if you have a job that you're going to respond to, you definitely want to look at the job posting. But maybe even before going back to the analogy of shopping and selling, you need to remember that you are in the labor market, and it's called the labor market because someone is buying something and someone is selling something. So you are selling, and by the way, it's again, what is it that you're selling?
So, I'm a media student. So, basically, I'm a media designer. So, I would be selling my designs and my skills, I guess.
Okay, absolutely. So you're selling your skills. You're in the labor market to sell your skills. So you need to know what you're selling. What are your skills? And if you don't know what your skills are, it's important for you to figure out what skills that you're going to get in your program. And this information is provided on the Seneca website and also in your learning outcomes. So you need to familiarize yourself with that. And if you still struggle, I would encourage you to attend our workshop that's called Understand Your Skills. And in there, we'll walk you through what kind of skills you're going to, how to collect the information about your skills that you're going to get and what kind of jobs that you'll be able to apply for once you graduate. So as I said, you need to know what you're selling, so your skills, but you also need to figure out what you're capable of, what jobs are suitable for the program that you're doing, and what job titles you're going to be applying for. The next thing, you want to know exactly what the employer wants to buy. Uh, they have they provide all this information on the job posting. So each job posting will have a few sections. It will have the duties and responsibilities, and it will have a section on qualifications or requirements. So you need to be able to read and understand and be able to pull out the skills that they're looking for in the job posting. So read a lot about job postings and job profiles, talk to people, analyze, and then start doing the matchmaking.
Sure. So, as you said, reading all the duties and requirements. So, how can we know that what an employer is looking for, and how will we be able to reflect it in our resume?
Excellent. Basically, the employer is looking for the best candidate. Okay.
Yeah.
So who's the best candidate? Maybe before we start defining who the best candidate is, let's start talking about who a good candidate is. A good
Hmm.
candidate is one who meets 75 and above, 75% of the requirements that have been stated in the job description. A better candidate is one whose experience matches the role that you are applying for, or that the one that has been posted, and one that has relevant experience. And then the best candidate is one who exceeds the requirements and the experience that have been stated on the job posting and has the wow factor. So can this candidate can demonstrate his performance or her performance using their achievements, using their accomplishments, using the results they have obtained during that job, while doing that job that is relevant. So that's the best candidate. Okay, so you still ask me to how do you reflect it on the resume? So
Yeah.
remember when I mentioned that you should do some readings, talking, analyzing, and matching? Well,
Yeah.
read the job description, read the job profiles, talk to people in similar roles and find out what they are doing. Analyze the job description and understand the skills they are looking for. Then do some self reflection and ask yourself, which of these skills do you have? So, how would you put that on the resume? In a resume, there are four distinct sections. There can be more, but we'll talk about the four for this session. One, you have the career goal or career objective. Another section you have a summary profile, or some people call it skills highlights. Another section is about education, and the fourth section is about work experience. So when you look at the career goal, you want to make sure that you indicate the job title that you're applying for the recruiter to know exactly what it is that you're applying for, and so that they don't put your resume in the wrong pile, but also for you to focus your attention on making sure that everything that you put on the page or two of your resume is relevant to whatever is at the top of your resume. So when you go to the summary profile or your skills highlight section, make sure that you address all the requirements that have been listed by the employer in the requirements or qualification section. So if they say they want someone who, let's say they are looking for a sales associate and they're looking for
Hmm.
someone who has completed a degree in business, then you would ask yourself, what have I done? And if you went through the BAM program at Seneca College, okay, maybe you put completed a 3-year advanced diploma in business administration marketing, right? And if, let's say, the second point on their requirements was someone who has 2 years of experience, and when you self reflect, you find that cumulatively between your volunteering, between your co-op and your part-time job, you have 2.5 years. Then your second bullet in your summary profile should be 2.5 years of work experience in customer service roles, sales roles, and marketing roles, something like that. So you want to make
Sure.
sure that you address each and every bullet point in the requirements in your summary profile. Then when you look at the duties and responsibilities, review them and start highlighting the skills that they're looking for. And then ask yourself, what have I done that is similar? If you have something that you have done that is similar, mention all the relevant experience and transferable skills in the work experience section of your resume. And if you don't have any of the relevant experience, but you have learned some of these skills at school in your program, then mention the courses and the skills that you acquired within the education section. And
Hmm.
then lastly, remember that many colleges and universities have similar programs. The recruiters don't know the difference between what Hamburg College is offering in the marketing program, what Seneca is offering in the 5 marketing programs. They're not going to do that research for you. So you need to be aware of what you are doing, what you have learned, and reflect it. So tell them what courses that you have taken, tell them what skills you have acquired. And by the way, don't just tell them, sell them. Okay,
Mhm.
remember to recycle the keywords. This is important, especially if they're going to use a resume tracking software to screen the applications. It looks for keywords.
Sure. So as you mentioned, like we should include all the things, all our experience. But what if the job posting does not have that much information? Like I've looked for jobs and there's not much information about what they're looking for in a candidate. So what could we do at that position?
Brilliant question, because all job postings are not the same. Some
Yeah,
are well written and some are not well written. So it's up to you. You have to look for the information. So if you find that this job that you're trying to apply for is very scanty, go on to Indeed and try and put in the same job title and find what would be required for a person who is in a similar role, even if it's in a different company. Okay. Or you can go to a website called Job Bank. So I think that is jobbank .gc.ca, jobbank.gc.ca, and you'll find a lot of job profiles there. Look through it and be able to find, again, what skills and expectations the employer might have of you in that particular role. So do your research. And as I said, look for similar job postings, whether it's on Seneca Works or Indeed, and find out those skills. Then, other than that, talk to people, talk to your peers, talk to Seneca alumni, those who have done similar jobs, talk to the hiring manager, talk to the recruiters, and ask them for information interviews. Find out as much information as you can about the role, because the more you know about the role, the better you'll be able to present yourself in your resume and also in your interview.
sure, for sure. So I just have one question. Since you say that we have to put in our experiences, but most of the things like if I put my resume online and I see that they need like 1 to 2 years of experience or and then they hire somebody. But what if I don't? Because I feel like everybody is graduating and we all work part-time, not full-time. And most of these jobs, they require like a full-time experience of like 1 to 2 years. So
Mhm.
what if we don't have that experience? What do we do then?
Okay, that's an excellent question too. Okay, sometimes the employers will say they are looking for a good candidate who has 3 years of experience, but most students don't have that much level of experience. Don't panic. Remember, this is the employer's wish list, right? If it's
Yes.
a good labor market for them, and there's many job seekers, they might be able to get what they have on their wish list. But if it's a crappy labor market, they will go down a notch and look and take someone who has less. So don't be shy. If you feel that you have at least 75% of the requirements or more, do apply. And if you have your education, but less experience, sell them on the education. Emphasize the skills that you have. Uh, Give them the wow factor. And as I said, the wow factor at this point, if you don't have a lot of experience, might be in your performance, academic performance. If you performed very well, put that on your resume. If, let's say, yeah, you may have had a part-time job and it was, let's say, in a sales role, and you were honored you were acknowledged as the best employer of the week or of the month. That's a wow that you want to reflect on your resume. So look at anything that will demonstrate performance, demonstrate achievements, demonstrate good results, and be able to put it on your resume. And again, when you're thinking about results, some people think, oh, but I don't have the statistic to put, or I was able to increase sales by 50%. Well, take it skill by skill, take it task by task, and think of what were you doing, what were you supposed to do, and what did you achieve. For instance, I'm a career coordinator, and one of my roles is to deliver workshops. How many workshops have I delivered in a week or in a month or in a year? That's a measure that you could be able to remember and put it on your resume. So things like that, you want to make sure that you put them on. And if you don't have work experience, especially for those who are still at the beginning of their education, remember, consider doing co-op or internship or some kind of apprenticeship to be able to get that experience, a part-time job. And if none of that is available, because, well, realistically right now it's a difficult labor market, consider freelancing or volunteering or do personal projects. Like all those are things that you could do to sharpen your skills. And even if it's a personal project, there's something that you're learning from it. So don't hesitate to do something on your own just because you're not being paid or you don't have a big employer name just beside who has asked you to do it.
That's so true. Thank you so much for this information. I have one more question. So, what if we don't have the kind of education that they require, like which is stated in the job description? What do we do then?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that I will say always watch for the employer's language. Sometimes they will say, we're looking for a candidate who has a business degree or any other qualification, relevant qualification. Okay, so if they're asking for business degree, but you have something in marketing, that's a business degree, and that could be, and that is definitely relevant for a sales job. So watch out for that kind of language. Sometimes they might say, these are must-haves, and then they list the qualifications and or experience. Those ones are almost non-negotiable, right?
Hmm.
Because oftentimes if they don't get their must-haves, they will look at all the applications that they receive, and then if they don't get anybody who fits the must-have, they might repost the job, okay? And then look out for things. They may say something like this, that, and the other is preferred or nice to have, or it's an asset. That means that's negotiable. So if they say knowing 3 languages is an asset, that means that if you know 2, they'll consider it. And if nobody has more than 2 languages, they will probably still take the person who has one good language. Okay, so always watch out for the language that they use in the job posting.
Okay, that was really great information that we needed. So let's look up at the questions that you guys posted here.
Ipsa, I sent it. I sent you all the questions.
Okay. So I have all the questions here. Do you want me to read it out to you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So first question is, should we add personal statement and career objectives in our resumes?
Personal statements and career objective.
Yes.
A career objective is absolutely a must. As I mentioned earlier, that you want to make sure that you have a career objective or career goal. The difference between a career goal and a career objective is that a career goal just specifies the job title, whereas a career objective specifies the job title plus what you're bringing to the table. What is your value proposition? What value are you going to contribute to this role that will make the employer excited to read the rest of your resume? So 1 or 2 things that will you add on to the career goal to make your career objective. Now, personal statement, that is not something that is typically asked for in Canada. Personal statement
Mm-hmm.
is usually a separate document. It's in Canada, I've seen educational institutions that offering higher education, like a master's degree or postgraduate diploma, asking for personal statements, but it's not typically what is requested for in a job application. However, that being said, instead of a personal statement, employers usually ask for cover letters. It's kind of in the same vein, and you kind of consider the same issues. But yes, you need to. Some employers will ask for cover letters, and other employers won't. And so always look at the job posting to see what they have asked for. If they have asked for a cover letter, by all means, make sure that you put in a one-page cover letter. But if they haven't asked for it, then do the best you can to sell yourself within the resume. The good thing about cover letters is that it gives you an opportunity to tell your story and come off authentic and be able to express your passion and interest in this role that you're applying for. So that would be something that you would consider putting as part of your application if the employer has asked for it.
That was a great answer. Thank you, Julia. So the second question is, if we are a part of a club at Seneca, where do we mention that in our resume, in work experience, or something else?
I love that question. And I love the fact that you're taking time to actually join a club and acquire skills, because in clubs, you get so many different skills. If you're in a leadership position, you are getting all these excellent leadership skills that many employers are looking for. Create in your resume, create a section that you can title extracurricular activities or interests, and be able to put it there. Anything to do with clubs or sports, or any other extracurricular activities that you have gone into, whether it's theater, music, dance, whatever, you can be able to put it in under that section. And again, when you put it under that section, make sure that you highlight the skills that you have learned. For instance, in sports, you learn a lot of skills, right? For instance, you can demonstrate dedication and commitment, which is always something that employers look for. You can talk about your leadership skills. If you are a sports captain, you can talk about your team building and team player skills. You can talk about lots of skills. And if you're in a club and you're in a leadership position and you learned how to promote, you learned how to organize events, you learned how to lead sessions, all those skills you want to be able to indicate them there.
Thank you so much, Julia. So third question that we have is, if you have two part-time jobs at a time, like work 2 years parallel, and then do you just count it as a solid 2 years experience?
That's a tricky one. Generally speaking, yes, you can count it as 2 years, or else you could count it as 4-year part-time. Right?
Okay.
But if it was in parallel, you are working here on Monday and there on Wednesday, it would be difficult to call it 4 years, because that would sound like a stretch. But if you have a part-time at one point, let's say 6 months, you end that and you have start another part-time for 1.5 years, then that is easy to say 2 cumulative years of part-time experience.
Okay, that's great. So there's another question which says, where do we mention our accomplishments? Do we mention it in the summary profile?
I would suggest that you thread your accomplishments right through your resume. So in education, put all your educational accomplishments. You got an A on a project, put it under your education. Specify the project, specify the skill that you obtained and the grade that you obtained. If it is some accomplishments and achievements that you got while you were working, thread it in there. As you describe the tasks that you did, the skills you acquired, spend some time on also talking about the accomplishments or the results that you achieved. But if the achievements don't fit in either category, then you may want to just create another section and title it accomplishments or achievements, and then list the achievements there. Right? Like, for instance, my son, when he was applying um, for a job, he had achievements, and he wanted to talk about his sports achievements. Uh, so rather than putting them together in the section of extracurricular activities because they wouldn't stand out, he created another section saying achievements, and he talked about all the wins that he was able to get, all the top scores that he was able to get as a scorer. And in that way, because there were quite a few of them, they were able
Mhm.
to stand alone, but also generate interest, because in the industry that he was going to apply for a job, which is finance, they actually valued that level of competition, because they know that if you're competitive in sports, chances are you will be able to transfer those skills in the work environment. Okay. So always think what is important for the recruiter to know, what would be good for the role, and be able to put it in there.
Great. Thank you so much, Juliet, for the answer. And then we have another question that says volunteering too comes under work experience.
Volunteering, you could put it under work experience, but also you could create a separate section as volunteering. Sometimes you might want to say a little bit more about your volunteering in a way that is not similar to how you're reflecting on your work experience. So it could easily be a misfit, right? Like, for instance, if you are in the marketing program and you are applying for a sales and marketing role, but on the side, you helped in the soup kitchen as a volunteer, that does not tie in well with your sales and marketing skills. But if you're applying to go to work in a not-for-profit organization and you want to go, let's say, into a fundraising role, then maybe that level of empathy that comes from you helping out in a soup kitchen is something that the employers want to know, but not so much as experience, but more so as your mindset, right? In which case,
Yeah.
putting it as a separate section under volunteering, that will be able to do that trick.
Wow. Thank you so much, Juliet, for answering all these questions. So, guys, if you have any more questions, you can write down them in the chat here. And Juliet, can you just summarize everything, or do you have anything else that we could do to share with our students so that we have like a great resume up?
Well, I'll just leave you with one thought, as in terms of putting that wow factor, you definitely want to make sure that however you're writing it, you want the employer to go, oh, wow, she did that. Oh, wow, she has that. Oh my God, this is the person that I really want to interview, right? So read your resume. And if you can't be able to digest it because you've been looking at it so many times, ask your friend, come to us, and we'll be able to look at it and say, you know what, maybe adding this, maybe adding that. So the things that you want to ask yourselves are about, again, as I said, achievements, accomplishments, and results. How can you be able to reflect those in your resume? Because that's what's going to bring the wow factor. If you were a leader, you accomplished something, right? Leading 20 people in a program is not a small thing. That's a big accomplishment. You did a project, you completed it, you got an A. That's an accomplishment. You did a project with 5 members of your team as part of your coursework, but the other members of the team were not playing well, they were not doing their work, but then you pulled everybody up together and you were able to get this project completed with on time. That is a skill that you might want to put in, but also you having accomplished and being able to submit it on time in a difficult situation, that might be something that you may want to highlight. So always think and put your story together, because again, it's about authenticity, it's about your story. think about, why are you doing this program? What do you like about this program? And then flip over and ask yourself, why do I want to do this job? Am I excited about this job? What is exciting me? And make sure you bring that excitement into your resume and into your cover letter to make sure that that excitement transfers to the recruiter.
That's great. Thank you so much, Juliet. So I see another question popping up by Sarah, and she says, can we make an appointment and discuss our own resume with Juliet?
Oh,
So can students do that?
absolutely. So you go on to Seneca Works, you log in using your Blackboard username and password, and Seneca Works. If you just Google Seneca Works, it will be the first entry. Go in there, and once you've logged in, you will see career development. Click on career development because there's more than one portal. Click on career development, and then you will see a drop down of appointments, workshop, events and workshops. Click on appointments if you want to make an appointment. And then we have career assistants who will be able to help you to put together your first draft of a resume, or sorry, not to review your first draft of a resume. And once the career assistants have helped you with that, then you can always schedule an appointment with a career development coordinator to take it up that notch. So we usually want to do it in 2 steps because the career assistants will help you. So if you see resume critique, that's where the career assistants are going to help you to look at things like language, things like formatting, things like how you have sectioned your resume. And those things are taken care of in one shot. And then once that is done, then you look for me or any other career development coordinator, again, following the same link, and click on that, book an appointment.
There you go. Thank you so much, Juliet. I hope you guys all got answers for your questions. And if you have more questions, you can just put it in our Instagram because we're going to post this video on our Instagram. So you can put in the chats there and we will be happy to help you guys. Thank you so much, Juliet, for joining us today. And I thank you, everybody, for joining in us today.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I'm hoping to see you again soon.